Hi everyone, in Algebra 3, this is going to be your video for the new material from lesson 62. It's going over abstract coefficients as well as linear variation. In this video, we're also going to be going over not only the new problems, but also the problems that we learned from lesson 61, just so we can make sure that you understand those concepts as well. So the first thing that we're going to do is look at linear variation. So when we are looking at a linear relationship is specific, it means the y-intercept may or may not be 0 where it's crossing the y-axis. But what we're looking at is a linear equation, which is y equals mx plus b. Now your y is going to be something varies linearly to something. In this case, this would be cost varies linearly to the number of items. And that's going to be your equation that you're going to start with. So you're starting with a linear equation, y equals mx plus b, but depending on what they give you as your actual variables. We're going to solve for m, and then we're going to solve for b, and then in the end, you may even need to solve for cost as well, or the number of items, depending on what they give you. So we're going to do this example together. You're going to be plugging into an equation that looks something like this. So it says costs vary linearly with the number produced. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do, for example, 62.1 is going to be cost equals m times n plus b. Now it says when 100 were produced, the cost was 700. So that means cost would be 700. The number that were produced was 100. Plus b. Remember, you're solving for m and b. And when 400 were produced, the cost was 2200. So that would be 2200 equals m times 400 plus b. It says write an equation that gives cost as a function of the number produced. So really, all we're trying to do is we're trying to solve for this equation right here. We are trying to solve for m and then solve for b, and that's it. So the first thing that you can do is, given these two equations, is you can either eliminate m or you can eliminate b. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to start by eliminating b. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by -1. So I have -700 equals -100m minus b. Leave the bottom equation as is with 2200 equals 400m plus b. By doing that, my b's are going to cancel out, and I am going to be left with 1500 equals 300m. You can then easily solve that m is going to be equal to 5. Then to solve for b, you're going to take that m and plug it back in, so we can plug it into the top equation. 700 equals 5 times 100 plus b. 5 times 100 is 500, so I'm going to subtract 500, which means that my b is going to be equal to 200. Now, the only thing that they asked for is for give cost as a function of the number produced. So my answer is going to be c is equal to m, which is 5, times the number produced plus 200. So if I know the number produced, I can find out what the cost is going to be. And that is your result for 62.3. Now I want you to pause this video and I want you to attempt to do number 1 in your lesson. When you're finished, you can unpause it and then do it with me. So for number 1, the total cost varied linearly with the number produced. The same as the last one, c equals mn plus b. When 200 were produced, the cost was 2050. When 30 were produced, the cost was 350. Write an equation that gives cost as a function of the number produced. All right, so all we're doing is coming up with the equation. So I have the cost was 2050. When 200 were produced, and then the cost was 350 when 30 were produced. So just like on the last problem, the example, I'm going to start by eliminating b. The top equation is going to stay the same at 2050 equals 200m plus b. The bottom equation is going to change to negative 350 minus 30m minus b. So the b is going to cancel. Then I have 2050 minus 350, which would give me 1700 equals 170m. And when you divide 1700 divided by 170, you get that m is equal to 10. Now, all I have to do is solve for b. I'm going to choose to solve for b using the bottom equation because the numbers are smaller. So that would be 350 equals 10 times 30 plus b. Well, I know that 30 times 10 is 300, so I'm going to subtract 300, which means that b is equal to 50. So when it says to write the equation, give cost as a function of the number produced, my equation is going to be c cost is equal to 10 times the number produced plus 50. And then anytime that it says write varied linearly, that's when you're going to use this formula right here. Okay, and that's one part of lesson 62. Now the second part is going to be abstract coefficients, and something that you have seen for this one is that you have seen equations that look like this, but usually you see variables that are there. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be solving this equation by doing elimination, and whatever letter that you're going to be solving for, you would eliminate the other variable. But remember that the coefficients have to be the same and that one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative. So I'm going to do 62.1 with you. Well, this one doesn't give me what I'm solving for. So I am going to say that we are solving for x. So if we're solving for x, that means I need to eliminate y. So if I want to eliminate y, the coefficients have to be the same. Well, the coefficients are b and e. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by e. The bottom equation, I'm going to multiply by negative b, because remember, one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative. So in this case, I'm solving for x, for 62.1. Now, if I distribute the e, then I have a e x plus b e y equals c e. Multiply the bottom by b, I have negative b dx minus b ey equals negative bf. So now that I've done that, if you look at the equations, the b ey is going to cancel. I am left with aex minus b dx equals ce minus bf. And again, I'm solving for x. So I see there's two x's on the left-hand side, so I'm going to factor those out. So I have ae minus bd. Now to get the x by itself, you just divide by the parentheses. So x is going to be equal to ce minus bf over ae minus bd. And that is your result. Now this is something that's going to apply to another lesson, so make sure you guys are paying attention and you understand how to do this, because we are going to be applying it to another lesson. So now I want you to take this and I want you to try number 9, in which you are solving for y. Then when you are done with that, you could also use your time to solve for number 10 and 11 as well. We're going to be going over both of those as well. So number 9, then 10 and 11. Now for number 9, I'm solving for y. So that means I need to eliminate x. You notice that the coefficient for x for this is d, or d and m. So that means I'm going to multiply the top equation by d. So that would become dmx plus d and y equals cd. The bottom equation I'm going to multiply by negative m, so it would be negative dmx minus dey equals negative, that should be negative MEY, sorry, minus FM. When I add these together, the DMX's are going to cancel. You're going to be left with DNY minus MEY equals CD minus FM. So I multiplied the bottom equation by negative M, top equation by D. Now I can factor out the Y on the left sides because that's what I'm trying to solve for. And then to get Y by itself, you just divide by the parentheses. So you get CD minus FM all over DN minus EM. And that's your result for number 9. Now moving on to number 10. Number 10, we just have to find the range, the mean, the median, the mode, the variance, and the standard deviation of the following data. So I'm going to start by just listing out what I'm going to be evaluating. So range, and then I'm going to do median, and then I'm going to do mode. Then I'm going to do the stuff where I use my calculator. So I'm going to do mean, and then I'm going to do standard deviation, and then variance. And if you forget how to do those, here are all of those things. So I'm going to start with my range. My range is the biggest number minus the smallest number, so my range is 6. Median is the middle number, so 1, 2, 3, between 3 and 4 would be 3.5. The mode is the number that shows up the most, that would be 7. Now for the mean, I'm going to make sure my calculator is clear and do second 7. It says error, that means it was already clear, so I'm just going to click the on button and clear it. Now I'm going to enter all my variables using this button that's right below the pi symbol after every variable I plug in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 7. So I'm going to count, make sure I have 6 variables. To find the mean, I'm going to do second x squared gives me the mean is equal to 4. Standard deviation, second divide, which gives me 2.31. And the variance has to always be done right after the standard deviation because you just have to square it, and that would be 5.33. And that would be your answer. Moving on to number 11. So number 11, it says, the data is normally distributed with a mean of 84 and a standard deviation of 6. Give the range of values between which approximately 68% of the data values lie. Give the range of the values which approximately 95% of the data lies. So for A, it's going to be 68%. And then for B, we're doing 95%. So those are the part of the empirical rule, the 68, 95, and 99. We don't have to solve for the 99 one. This one gives us the mean is equal to 84. And that would be plus or minus 1 standard deviation, which is 6. For 95%, it would be 84 plus or minus 2 times the standard deviation. Again, you should have notes on this because this is something that you have to have memorized. Mean plus or minus 1 standard deviation, mean plus or minus 2 times the standard deviation. We are looking for a range of values. So if I do 84 minus 6, you get 78. And then 84 plus 6 would be 90. So 68% of the data is going to lie between the range of 78 to 90. Now for the next one, 95% is 84 plus or minus 12. So we do 84 minus 12, which would give us 72. And then 84 plus 12 would be 96, which means that 95% of the data is going to fall between these two data points of 72 and 96. And that concludes your new material from this lesson. Please make sure in the comment section you list all of your questions that you have on lesson 61. I hope you guys all have a great day. Bye.